Consumed with rage, grief, and a burning will, Storm unleashed a barrage of pain onto infinity that nearly brought about her welcomed end. Her emotions sparked within her a power that she rarely calls upon. But Storm's raw pain was a weapon best left unsheathed, a fact that her friends reminded her of just in time. For Hadad and his Black Winters have consumed all who stand in their path, and Earth is their next stop. Even Eternity himself has retreated to the House of Ideas to consult his father, the One Above All, hoping that he will bring an end to the Thunder War. Meanwhile, the universe's forces gather for one last stand, and Storm stands alone. At the uppermost stratosphere of the planet, a meeting between the Alpha Storm God, Hadad, and the Omega Storm Goddess, Aurora Monroe, has begun. They have yet to exchange blades, fists, or feats of elemental power, and yet our atmosphere has already been set ablaze. Citizens and superheroes alike can only gaze up in amazement and fear as lightning bolts cascade across the horizon, and only those lucky enough to call Storm a friend are comforted. They know that in the end she will prevail, but that doesn't mean her victory will be easily brought about. In fact, one such person, Dr. Voodoo, the Hongan Supreme himself, has come to give aid to his new friend and would-be student, but his advance is stopped by three impossibly powerful beings, representing Death herself. Storm finally speaks, uttering the name of the one who seeks to end her existence. He acknowledges her as well as the host of eternity. But he doesn't want Storm to die without knowing why this day had to come, why the abstracts and cosmic entities had to fall, along with their universe. In all of their pronouncements, they've neglected to explain why he has come. As Storm readies her trident, clad in her vibranium war armor, she knows that Hadad's words have truth laced within them, because in all the time that she has been acquainted with eternity, he has never once uttered a word about the importance of their partnership. But what more can she expect from an entity who does not ask for permission when taking control of her body? Her acts of restraint and mercy are seen by Eternity as weakness. He sees Storm as nothing more than a tool that must be broken in, or rather, broken down. She understands the desire to give in to vengeance, as well as the heavy crown of duty, and yet she refuses to back down. She will not accept death on this day, not for herself, not for her universe. She promises to give this immortal a swift end if he should move against her planet. Hadad's unstoppable mission now stands toe-to-toe with Aurora's immovable will, and so the final fight of the Thunder War begins. Hadad opens the battle with relentless blows, each one laced with divine lightning. Storm's mortal body crumbles beneath them, but not without taking her own pound of flesh from Hadad. In all of her days, Storm has not been physically tested to this extent, and in a matter of minutes, Storm's vibranium armor is smashed to pieces, its remaining fragments barely holding on to Storm's flesh as she vomits up blood and tries to catch her breath. But Hadad's fighting is as ferocious as the elements that he controls. Hadad launches his spear through the air. Storm tries to block it with a wall of ice, but both it and her shoulder are shattered. But pain means nothing when the fate of the universe is at stake, so she leaps into the air, letting out a deafening war cry. But Hadad's ancient ears can hear the weariness in Storm's voice, and with a crack of his neck, he prepares to finish this fight. Before doing so, he intends to teach Storm a lesson in godhood. Storm's crystal blue eyes, though sparkling and older than time, have not yet learned how to look with boundless sight, so she knows nothing of the hosts of eternity who came before her. He once played host to eternity, under the title of Hadad the Devastator, and before him, Eternal Madness the Insane. Storm now stands as Eternal Storm the Turbulent, and yet she hasn't even begun to truly walk in her purpose. Hadad once dominated the primordial abstract entities and drained the living tribunal. Only the one above all was strong enough to stand against his onslaught, and yet here Storm lies, defeated. And so, Hadad summons a Black Winter and prepares to end the story of Aurora Monroe. In previous fights, Storm would have been embodied by Eternity by now, forcing her hand to commit atrocities against her own loved ones and age-old rivals who she views with respect. But now, in her time of absolute need, he is absent, communing with his father, the one above all, in the House of Ideas. Just as Hadad seeks to teach Storm something before she dies, the one above all sees an opportunity to teach a lesson to his son. All loving parents seek to see their offspring surpass them. So too does the one above all, as he titles Eternity a supreme creator, superior even to himself. But Eternity can't accept this praise, not while he cowers in fear from his own creation and abandons another. Eternity kneels in submission and shame before his father. Why should he help Eternity? He didn't even bring anything to bargain with. All Eternity does is take and seek to take more. He took from Oblivion, the first son, until he grew impossibly weak. Eternity took Death, Oblivion's twin, and housed her within himself. And when Hadad came for him, he fell. What makes Eternity worthy of the one above all's compassion? Why should he give when Eternity only takes? Perhaps he should give, but from his wrath. Eternity begins to sink fast as the sins of his past weigh him down. But the one above all continues his lesson. For in the Oblivion Void, only days ago, Eternity took and took again, unleashing his son, Abraxas, the bomb entity, to end Oblivion before their next trial by combat would even begin. The living tribunal was clear when he passed down the edict of the one above all, but Eternity sought selfishly to move around the rules that his father had placed before him, like a disobedient child. In another childish attempt to circumnavigate responsibility, Eternity places the blame on Oblivion once again for releasing Hadad in the first place. But the one above all is not moved. He is the uncreated creator, Lord of the multiverse. Order and chaos understand each other. Life and death reached a compromise. The only ones who can't get along, the ones who want each other dead, are Eternity and Oblivion, and Hadad stands ready to grant both of their wishes. But before final judgment can be passed, lightning erupts from the sky as the Asgardian god of thunder Beta Ray Bill arrives to aid Aurora, atop the head of the serpent storm god Sugar, who blitzes Hadad with divine flames. But all they manage to destroy is his thunder spear, and as he's already demonstrated, Hadad is never without a weapon. Now the Asgardian is on the receiving end of Hadad's fury, as his blows send him flying through the air with meteoric fury. Before he or Sugar can act, Hadad unleashes an explosion of subarctic cold, freezing the two gods in place. This is not merely another storm god, another child of Gaia, for the Elder Gods are not Eternity's masterpiece. That title belongs to Hadad the First. And yet, there is another. One born not of the elder goddess Gaia, but of her sister, Oster. She hurls herself through the air, body healed and spirits renewed, as she claims the form prophesied by the Black Vortex. Only this time, she's in full control. Hadad stops her in the air, wrapping his hand around her throat, but she responds by locking her legs around his arm. The divine combatants stare at each other, as lightning races from their eye sockets, clashing in the middle. Storm's white lightning of life and Hadad's black lightning of death. The second round of their fight has begun. Elsewhere, the One Above All continues his lesson with Eternity. While these two creators have vastly different creations, their experiences as creators are all too familiar. They are both artists, and every artist knows what it's like to hate their work, to hate what their work says about themselves. When Eternity sees Hadad, he is so blinded by hate and fear that he can't see the beauty in his other creations, one of whom fights for her universe now. She too represents Eternity, and shows just how good he can be. And if Eternity could offer just a modicum of compassion to his creation, then perhaps he would know love, just as the One Above All loves his son. Eternity looks into the vast, outstretched existence, humbled and ready to make amends. And in this instant, a true shifting of the tide occurs. Eternal Storm awakens once again, using her patented immortal head smash to strike Hadad down. And she's not the only one turning the tide. Galactus and his Surfer prepare to free the storm gods trapped within the Black Winter, who have not yet been fully consumed. Infinity and Quasar find their second wind as power surges over them. Her heart warms with joy as she is reunited with her brother. And Eternity starts down the long road of contrition, for he has much to apologize for. He broke his father's heart, for he has no honor, and there is no greater example of this than his treatment of his own creation. He pleads for her forgiveness. Storm has many words to share with her creator, but for now she's willing to put that aside and work together with him, provided that he gives his word to never betray her will again. Eternity agrees, and for the first time in their sordid history, Eternity and Storm are on one accord. The white in Eternal Storm's garb turns to solid black, mirroring the color scheme that Storm often takes in her earthly clothes. Though our universe has often given Aurora Monroe its worst, she chooses to give it her best. This all-too-common refrain in Storm's life would normally cause her to weep, but now all it conjures up is a single tear to trace her cheek. She calls forth the abstract entity of destruction, calmly asking him to loan her his strength. As Eternal Storm's power amplifies, Eternity posits a strategy. He suggests combining their strength with Infinity, the Never Queen, and the Phoenix Force. But Storm doesn't see the need to bring their sisters into this. She's ready to end this battle now, her own way. Her assault is legendary. Each blow etches Hadad's imminent defeat into the annals of history. And as her fists rip Hadad's face open, the elements gleefully aid their mistress in her assault. Electricity supercharges her body to move at blinding speed. The atmosphere pushes down on her fists with pressure akin to the sun's plasma core, while gravity locks Hadad onto the ground with the force of a black hole. Just as she was jumped by 4 storm gods not too long ago, Storm and her elements have now ganged up on the lone Alpha Thunder deity. Finally, Eternal Storm relents. She is now the one who towers over a beaten opponent. There's no need for death at all. Execution is not a necessary sentence when imprisonment will do. Hadad will share a cell with Chak and Shango in Storm's pocket dimension. But with his face grotesquely mangled and his body utterly broken, he makes an appeal to Storm against the creators of all that is. What is an Omega mutant? What is a god to such beings? Nothing but instruments of amusement. And deep within Storm, Eternity grows increasingly afraid. Storm has not only sought to spare Hadad, but has lent him an ear as well. Humility and compassion have led to Eternity and Storm finally becoming true partners, but now he fears that they will bring about his eventual undoing. So in an act of selfish preservation, Eternity's deep-seated nature forces itself to the surface once again as he forces Storm's hand. Her will has been usurped by eternity for the last time. With every fiber of her being, she rejects and ejects eternity. Her mind can conjure but one single thought: never again. The battle has ended, the war is over, but there is no victor. This darkness is not confined to Storm alone, for in the realm of death, Oblivion's sister conspires. Lady Death has captured Jericho Drum. She will make this necromancer her executioner's blade, as she and her forces wage war on those responsible for slaying her brother. As one war ends, another begins. The war above all. Up next is Rogue Storm, dropping in October, and will continue into 2026, after which we're coming back to the present for Storm's solo series to begin again, under the title Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant, pre-order for which starts in 2 months. But before any of that starts, we still got a lot to talk about, because now that we have all 12 issues in the bag, I want to take a big old comprehensive look at the whole thing. I'm gonna reread all 12 issues with fresh eyes, and we're gonna revisit everything. Your boy has several words. But for now, just tell me what you thought about this issue. And after you leave that comment, click this video right here to get more Weather Witch goddessness in your life. And until next time, keep simping.